Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is going on? My name is M1K3 and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we're taking a look at how we qualified through FNCS Week 1. We're going to be going over our mistakes, things that were good, and how I can improve for the coming weeks. With that all said, let's aim for 5,000 likes and let's get into today's episode. I want to start this video off by saying I am currently at a bootcamp. That's why my ping was so good this tournament. And honestly, it's a dream playing here. In the first game, we played our off-spawn completely wrong. We didn't have good communication, we didn't abuse the gas cans that are all around lazy, and we didn't have any awareness over the situation we were in. If one of us, or in other words me, could have just been sitting on high ground on a main, gathering information whilst Bully and Tab was farming and looting, that would have made the fight 10 times easier. We went into this fight blindly and we ended up dying as a result of poor communication, lack of teamwork, and bad awareness over the situation we were in. Moving on to game number 2, we were still in a relatively bad lobby. One of our main issues this FNCS was our mats going into the half and half zone or the 5th zone. In the 5th zone, everyone in the trio should have 1,200 mats. And if you don't have that in the 5th zone, then you have something to VOD review and improve for this next week's FNCS. I know 1,200 mats sounds like a lot, but this is what pretty much every good team has going into the 50-50 zone. This is probably one of the most valuable things I can learn away. And I promise you, if you can have 1,200 mats each in the 50-50 zone, you'll already start improving your placements because of this one simple tip. Another thing I completely sucked at this day was following other people's tarps. Very often in these stacked lobbies, people will fully build tarps and stay all the way in front of them. If you don't have a lot of mats remaining, let's say 300 each, you always want to see if someone has fully built a tarp you can follow. Not only will you have a map-free rotation into the zone, but you'll also have an opportunity to kill the people ahead of the tarp if they have bad awareness, which in these lobbies, most people do. In this game, as a result of lack of patience, me and Bully jumped straight in on a guy, and I didn't even consider the fact that there was another one behind him. In this moment, I tunnel visioned and only went for the guy that was on Bully and had terrible awareness over my surroundings. What we should have done was waited for the zone to reach us, then jumped in. With this patience, we would have known how many people there was, and I believe we could have gotten the kills. This game was unstructured to say the least. Me and Tab had to play out the endgame as a duo. And when playing as a duo, you have to use other people's tarps, play perfectly together, and have good comms. Unfortunately though, Tab went down, and I had to try to solo clutch. In game number 4, we got gifted high ground. And boys, in opens, you always want to look for high ground opportunities. Because as we know, high ground wins games. The most important aspect of holding high ground is connecting twice during the first moving zone, and always, and I mean always, having a dedicated tarper that stays ahead and makes sure no one can crank up on the front edge of the zone and take or contest your high ground. This game was very straightforward. We played height very good and no one tried to contest us, and we ended up winning the game because of one call to go for high ground. In game 5, we played the endgame completely scuffed. We had nearly no mats and no shields, and we honestly just tried to make the most out of it. When going for this finish, I should have been more aware that another player could come. Players coming from the storm are usually low on HP and easy to eliminate. In game number 6, we were on second height, and layer switching is something I'm working on improving a lot. Right here, after we went over the mountain, we had to drop down a ton of layers. But we didn't, and this caused the entire trio to become completely scuffed. In game 7, I died early as a result of my terrible 50-50 zone rotate. But luckily, Tab and Bully was able to pop off and clutch a ton of points. After game 7, we had 20 minutes remaining and 3 games left to play. So we decided to try to get as many kills as possible off spawn, but unfortunately that wasn't the greatest plan, and we ended up dying in both game 8 and 9 very early. After 9 games, it all came down to our final game. We needed 124 points to qualify, and everybody focused up. Even though we had a bit of a shambles tournament, We all knew that if we took this last game seriously, we would qualify on to round 2. This is how it went.
It didn't pass? Ja, det är tack vare. Ja, vi må vara på den. Vara på. Ja, nå fikk han ta den. Okej, si ifrån och du editar honom. Si ifrån du editar. Bara 100 stök. Vi mangler mye. Ready, klar, ferdig, gå. 35 var. Gå gjennom.
Yeah, there's no doubt about the fact that I played terrible that last game. But that doesn't change the fact that this is a good pointer on what kind of games you need to qualify for round 2 of FNCS. Alright, so this first week of FNCS was insanely eye-opening to me. First and foremost, boys, if you want to qualify, you should only save your placement points. There is no need to take unnecessary risks unless you need the mats. Kills doesn't really mean anything if there's risk involved in taking that fight. So try avoiding mid-game fights and rather go for safe refreshes like double harpoons or triple sprays. In endgames in FNCS, I would honestly recommend either learning playing ultimate high ground or ultimate low ground. In the next week, I'm going to be way more on either of the two than I was this week. Playing mid ground is something I obviously need to practice a ton, but I feel like low ground is something I master to a pretty good extent. Lastly, if I were to give you guys one tip through this FNCS, it would have to be to always keep a good mentality and don't expect that you're going to pop off in your first big tournament together. Understand that improving is a process, and you're probably not just going to go from top 1,500 teams to top 33 teams in one weekend, even if you practice a lot. Boys, that is going to be wraps for the first of many daily uploads. I really hope you found this video both useful and enjoyable. My name is M1K3 Editz. Stay safe and take care.